Have you ever trusted someone with something really important, and that person just threw it away like it was nothing? Today I'm going to tell you what happened when my best friend turned my secret into a joke, in front of everyone. If you've been through something similar, leave a comment now. Let's create a support community here. Setting the context, it was October, and the whole school was talking about one thing: the annual field trip to Sierra Ecological Park. 3 days camping, trails, waterfalls, bonfire at night. It was the event of the year. I had been excited for weeks, counting down the days on my calendar. I had bought a new tent, picked out clothes, made endless lists of what to bring. But 3 weeks before the trip, something happened that would change everything. How it all started. It was a regular Friday. Anna and I, my best friend since 5th grade, were in my room doing homework. Well, trying to do homework. Actually, we were talking and laughing more than studying. Anna was that kind of friend who knew all my secrets. She knew I'd been afraid of elevators since I was 8. She knew I sang in the shower pretending I was at a concert. She knew everything. That day, I was kind of distracted. Staring into space, sighing without realizing it. "Marina, what's wrong? You're acting weird today," Anna said, closing her notebook. I hesitated. Bit my lip. Felt my face getting hot. "Promise you won't laugh?" "Of course I promise. We're best friends." That's when I told her I was in love with Lucas. Who Lucas was. Lucas wasn't just a classmate. He was the guy. Basketball team captain. Always surrounded by friends. Smiled easily, was nice to everyone, even the most boring teachers. And me? I was average. Not popular, not unpopular. Stayed in that invisible middle ground. An average student who went unnoticed. Marina. Seriously? Lucas. Anna's eyes widened, excited. "But that's great. You have to tell him." "No way." My heart raced just thinking about it. He barely knows I exist. The letter. But here's the part that made everything worse. I had written a letter. It wasn't planned. It was on a sleepless night, when feelings were overflowing. I sat at my desk at 2 a.m. and started writing. And writing. And writing. 5 pages later, I had completely poured out my heart. I had terrible poems that rhymed love with dove. I had little heart drawings in the margins. I even had a list of 27 things I like about you. It was cheesy. It was over the top. It was too intense. And I was never ever going to show that to anyone. I stored the letter in an old folder at the back of my drawer, under old tests and old notebooks. Anna, I did something really stupid, I confessed that afternoon in my room. I told her about the letter. About every embarrassing detail. I read some passages out loud, and we both laughed until we cried from the second-hand embarrassment I had created. "Promise this stays just between us?" I asked, suddenly getting serious. Anna held my hands and looked into my eyes. "Marina, your secret is safe with me. I would never tell anyone. We're best friends. It goes to the grave with me." I believed her completely. After all, it was 4 years of friendship. We slept over at each other's houses. We knew each other's phone passwords. It was the kind of friendship you think is indestructible. Do you have a friend who keeps your secrets like this? Tag that person in the comments and thank them. True friendships are rare. The following weeks. After that conversation, everything seemed normal. Anna and I remained inseparable. We planned together what to bring on the trip, which snacks to buy, which tent we'd sleep in. But something was different. Small things I didn't pay attention to at the time. Anna started hanging out more with Julia and Camila, 2 girls from the popular group at school. Girls who had never really paid much attention to us before. "They're nice when you get to know them better," Anna would say when I commented. I noticed Anna laughed differently around them. Louder. More forced. Like she was always trying to impress. On a Tuesday, a week before the trip, something strange happened. I was getting books from my locker when Julia walked past me in the hallway. She looked at me, gave a little laugh and nudged Camila. They both looked at me and laughed again. My stomach twisted. Why are they laughing? I thought. But I convinced myself it was paranoia. The day before the trip. Friday arrived. Last class before the trip. Everyone was agitated, barely able to pay attention to the subjects. During break, I saw Anna in a corner talking animatedly with Julia, Camila, and 2 more girls. When I approached, they fell silent for a second. "Hi, Marina," Anna said, too quickly. "We were just talking about the trip." "Cool. Can I sit down?" "Sure." But the vibe was weird. The girls exchanged glances. There were muffled giggles. I stayed there for 5 uncomfortable minutes and then made up an excuse to leave. As I was walking away, I heard someone whisper "little hearts," and they all laughed. My blood ran cold. No. She wouldn't have. What do you think is going to happen? Comment your predictions before I continue. The alarm went off early. Normally I'd hate waking up at this hour, but that day I jumped out of bed full of energy. I put on my most comfortable outfit for the trip. Checked my backpack for the millionth time. Everything ready. My mom drove me to school, where the bus was already parked. Dozens of excited students gathered with huge backpacks, sleeping bags, everyone taking photos. I saw Anna near the bus. She waved at me, but was surrounded by Julia and Camila. On the bus. I got on and looked for Anna, expecting to sit next to her like we always did on school trips. "Marina, come here," she called. But when I got close, I realized she was already sitting by the window, and Julia was next to her in the aisle. "Sorry, the seat's already taken. But there's a free seat in the back." Anna pointed. It was like a punch in the stomach. On every school trip for the past 4 years, we always sat together. I swallowed my pride and went to the back of the bus. I sat alone, with my backpack occupying the seat next to me. During the 3-hour trip, Anna barely looked back. She was laughing loudly with the girls, taking selfies, singing songs. I put on my headphones and pretended I didn't care. Arrival at the ecological park. When the bus stopped, I forgot about the sadness for a bit. The place was beautiful. Green mountains all around, fresh air, the sound of a waterfall in the distance. Ms. Carla, one of my favorites, gathered everyone. "Attention! You'll have 40 minutes to set up your tents in the designated area. Then we'll meet here to start the first trail. We'll divide into groups of 8 people." My heart raced when I heard the group division. Group 3, Marina, Anna, Julia, Camila, Pedro, Lucas, Rafael and Beatriz. Lucas was in my group. I immediately looked at Anna. She was staring at me with a strange expression. It wasn't happy. It wasn't supportive. It was something I couldn't identify. The trail. The trail started at 10 a.m. It would be 2 hours of hiking until we reached the main waterfall, where we'd have lunch. At first, I stayed at the back of the group, trying to make myself invisible. But Lucas started walking slower and ended up next to me. "Hey, Marina." Excited for the trail. My heart almost jumped out of my mouth. He was talking to me. Normally. Oh yes. It's my first time here. Mine too. I heard the waterfall is incredible. Do you like places like this? And then something surprising happened. We had a conversation. A real conversation. He told me about movies he liked. We discovered we both loved sci-fi. About music, we both listened to the same indie rock podcast. About how he found chemistry difficult. He was normal, kind, funny. For 30 magical minutes, I forgot everything. The weird vibe with Anna. The giggles. The stupid letter. It was just me and Lucas talking on the trail, like 2 normal friends. But then I looked ahead and saw Anna watching me. She had stopped talking to Julia and was looking back with an expression I couldn't decipher. The waterfall. We arrived at the stopping point around noon. The waterfall was spectacular, a 15-meter waterfall falling into a natural pool of crystal-clear water. Everyone spread blankets on the ground, opened backpacks, took out snacks. Some teachers went swimming. Other students took photos non-stop. I found a quiet spot near a large rock and started eating my sandwich. Anna sat nearby, but not next to me. Julia and Camila were with her. Lucas and the other boys were in a separate group, playing soccer with a ball someone brought. For about 20 minutes, everything was fine. I was even starting to relax and enjoy the moment. And then it happened. The moment that changed everything. Anna stood up. She walked to the center of our group, where about 15 people were gathered. Her voice got louder than normal. Guys, you won't believe what I'm about to tell you. Some people looked curiously. Marina, yes, Marina over there, wrote a huge love letter to Lucas. The world stopped. My sandwich fell from my hand. I felt all the blood in my body rush to my face. And it's not a normal little letter. It's 5 pages. With little poems that rhyme love with dove. Laughter started to emerge. It has little heart drawings in the margins. And a list, pay attention, a list of 27 things I like about you. The laughter got louder. Julia and Camila were practically falling over laughing. Some boys from Lucas's group heard and started paying attention. And you know the best part? She'll never have the courage to give it to him. The letter is stored at the back of her drawer, like a sacred relic. Anna imitated my voice. Oh, Lucas is so handsome. Oh, he smiles so beautifully. More laughter. I was frozen. Unable to move. To speak. To breathe. Anna. My voice came out as a weak whisper. You promised. She looked at me with a smile on her face. A smile I had never seen before. Cruel. Relax, Marina. It's just a joke. You're so dramatic. But you promised. God, stop being annoying. Everyone here has had a silly crush. It's not a big deal. But it was a big deal. To me, it was everything. The humiliation growing. More people started approaching, attracted by the noise. Now about 25 people were listening. Someone shouted, 27 things? Like what? Anna was loving the attention. Oh, let me remember. Number 12, I like the way you wrinkle your nose when you're concentrating. Everyone laughed even louder. I looked to the side. Lucas was there. He had heard. His face was red, uncomfortable. He looked at me with an expression of pity and embarrassment. That was it. My life was over. Tears started forming in my eyes. I wasn't going to cry. Wasn't going to give her that satisfaction. I got up and started walking away from the group, heading toward the trail. That's when I heard a voice behind me. Anna, can I talk to you? Now. It was Ms. Carla. Her voice was cold. Controlled. But there was anger there. She had heard everything. How would you have reacted in this situation? Leave in the comments. Would you confront the friend right then or wait? Ms. Carla took Anna behind a large rock, away from the group. I could see them, but couldn't hear what they were saying. The mood among the students changed completely. The laughter stopped. Some looked uncomfortable. Others whispered among themselves. Beatrice, a girl from my group who was always nice to me, came up to me. Marina, I'm so sorry. That was really wrong. I just nodded, still unable to speak. 5 minutes later, I saw Anna coming back. Her eyes were red. She had been crying. Then Ms. Carla called me with a gesture. The conversation with the teacher. Marina, I'm really sorry for what happened, she began, putting her hand on my shoulder. I heard everything Anna said. Tears finally started to fall. I couldn't hold them back anymore. She promised. We were best friends. I know. And what she did was a very serious violation of your trust. I want you to understand something important. This wasn't just a joke. This was emotional bullying. The word bullying shocked me. I always associated bullying with physical aggression or direct insults. I had never thought of this as bullying. What Anna did, the teacher continued, was publicly expose something intimate and private of yours, without your permission, for the purpose of having fun at your expense and gaining social attention. That's wrong on every level. She took a deep breath. I'm going to have a serious talk with the whole group. And Anna will face consequences. But first, what do you need right now? No one had ever asked me that before. I just want to be alone for a while. That's fine. Stay here as long as you need. When you're ready, come back. And Marina? You did nothing wrong. Having feelings isn't shameful. Writing about them isn't shameful. The shame belongs to those who betrayed your trust. The talk with the group. Ms. Carla gathered all the students. Her voice was serious, no joking around. Everyone, I just witnessed something very serious. A student publicly exposed private and sensitive information about another student, turning it into entertainment. Total silence. You need to understand, exposing secrets, vulnerabilities, or personal feelings of others isn't teasing. It's not joking. It's a form of emotional violence. Some students looked down, ashamed. We all have the right to privacy. We all have the right to trust our friends without fear of being betrayed. And when someone violates that, there are consequences. She looked directly at Anna. Anna, you'll be under observation for the rest of the trip. When we return, we'll have a meeting with you, your parents, and the school administration. For now, you'll accompany me on the next outings and won't participate in group activities. Anna started crying again. And for the rest of you, if I hear any comments, any giggles, any reference to what happened here, you'll face the same consequences. Is that clear? A chorus of yes, teacher echoed. If you agree that it's just a joke is never an excuse to hurt someone, share this story. The afternoon at the waterfall. After that conversation, the mood was heavy. No one seemed to know how to act. I sat alone for a while longer. Then something unexpected happened. Lucas approached. He sat on a rock near me, keeping a respectful distance. Hey. Hi. Uncomfortable silence. Look, I know you must be feeling horrible right now. And I don't know what to say that will make you feel better. But I wanted you to know that what happened was really wrong, and that you shouldn't feel ashamed. I looked at him, surprised. Seriously, Marina. Having feelings for someone isn't shameful. It's human. And honestly, if someone wrote something like that about me, I'd be more honored than anything. Like, it means you cared enough to put it into words. My eyes filled with tears again, but this time from relief. Thank you, was all I could say. And one more thing, he continued. Our conversation on the trail earlier, about movies and music, that was nice. It was real. I enjoyed talking to you. And that hasn't changed. He got up and gave a friendly pat on my shoulder before returning to the group. The apologies. Throughout the afternoon, several people came to me. Pedro, from my group, apologized for laughing. Beatriz offered me half of her chocolate. Even Julia, awkwardly, mumbled a sorry as she passed by me. Anna stayed away the whole time, under Ms. Carla's supervision. Every time our eyes met, she quickly looked away. The return. At 4 p.m., we started the trail back. 2 hours of walking in silence. On the bus back home, Anna tried to sit near me. Marina, No. Please let me explain. Not now, Anna. I can't. I sat alone again. Put on my headphones and looked out the window as the bus drove down the road. Ms. Carla walked down the aisle and stopped next to me for a moment. Are you okay? I thought about the question. Was I okay? No. But I was surviving. I will be, I answered. She smiled encouragingly and moved on. Monday. Anna wasn't at school. I later found out she had been suspended for 2 days. The story had spread, but not in the way I feared. Instead of me being the joke, Anna was seen as the villain. People who had never talked to me before came to express solidarity. The meeting. On Wednesday, I was called to a meeting in the principal's office. My parents were there. Anna's parents too. Anna, Ms. Carla, and the principal. Anna read an apology letter she had written. It was long. It was detailed. And it seemed genuine. She explained that she had done it to impress Julia and Camila, to be accepted into their group. That she had been selfish and cruel. That she hadn't thought about the consequences. I destroyed our friendship for something as stupid as wanting to be popular, she said through tears. And I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life. Her parents were clearly embarrassed and upset. The principal asked what I wanted to happen. Honestly, I didn't want revenge. I didn't want her to suffer more. I just wanted to move on. I accept her apology, I said, but I need space. I'm not ready to be friends again. Maybe I never will be. Anna nodded, crying. Subscribe/follow if you want more real stories about relationships and personal growth. Subscribe now. Anna and I became strangers who shared a history. We only spoke when necessary. We sat far from each other. Our friend groups separated completely. Interestingly, Julia and Camila stopped hanging out with her too. Apparently, after the incident, she was no longer fun enough for them. Anna started walking alone most of the time. Part of me felt sorry. But the hurt part still couldn't completely forgive. Lucas and I became real friends. We didn't date, it never happened that way. But we built a genuine friendship based on mutual respect. He introduced me to his friends. I introduced him to mine. Sometimes we had lunch together. He helped me with chemistry. I helped him with history. The letter? We never mentioned it. It remained as a distant memory of something that could have been, but didn't need to be. The lessons. I learned important things that year. Trust is a privilege, not a right. Just because someone has been your friend for years doesn't mean they deserve your deepest secrets. It's just a joke is the phrase cowards use to avoid responsibility for hurting others. Vulnerability is courage, not weakness. Writing that letter was a way to process my feelings, and there's no shame in that. Not all friendships are forever. And that's okay. People change. Priorities change. And sometimes the best we can do is let go. There will always be good people willing to help. Ms. Carla. Lucas. Beatriz. People who cared when it mattered. Final. Today. Years have passed since that day at the waterfall. The letter still exists, stored in some box in my closet. Sometimes I reread it and laugh at the adolescent intensity of everything. Anna. We graduated and went different ways. We met once, years later, at a cafe. We talked briefly. She apologized again. I said it was okay. And it was. The wound had healed. It left a scar, but it didn't hurt anymore. Lucas is doing well. We follow each other on social media. He's dating an incredible girl. I'm focused on my career and healthy relationships. But I never forgot that day. The message I'd like you to take away. If you've ever betrayed someone's trust, even unintentionally, even as a joke, know that words have weight. Secrets have value. And trust, once broken, rarely becomes completely restored. If you've had your trust betrayed, know that the shame isn't yours. It belongs to the person who chose their social acceptance over your dignity. And if you're keeping a secret, thinking about who to tell, choose wisely. Watch how that person treats other secrets. How they talk about people when they're not around. The right person will guard your heart as if it were their own. You? Have you experienced something similar? Tell us in the comments. Let's create a safe space where everyone can open up without judgment. Before you go, 3 things. Thumbs up, leave your like if this story touched you, speech balloon comment which part was most impactful, bell turn on notifications for more real stories.